Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a review show special. Now, this is where I take a deep dive into a particular subject, a particular creator, a particular trick, especially normally something that's either kind of long forgotten or something that's brand new, and tell you all about it and go into more depth than I would do on a Craig and Ryland review show. And today I'm going to be looking at one of the hottest tickets in Magic right now, which is One Card by DG Magic by Daniel Garcia. A lot of people have been talking about this for a long time. I heard rumors that Daniel Garcia was going to be bringing out a new trick a few months ago. And here's the thing, the reason that so many people are excited about this trick is because Daniel Garcia is one of the biggest names in Magic when it comes to the creator world. You know, he's been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, and he has a track record of bringing out nothing but solid quality material. His DVD sets that came out back in the day were a benchmark when it came to instructional Magic releases. And the products that he's released over the course of the last 20 years have been phenomenal. He's a huge name. He consults with companies. He consults with TV shows. He is the GOAT, really, when it comes to creating Magic. And he hasn't released a trick for a very long time. So when you hear that he's got something new coming out, everybody gets excited. Now, if you haven't seen this, I've got a lot of thoughts on this. And if you've not seen it, I'm going to play the trailer for you first of all, so you can see exactly what this is. I'm not going to actually do a performance of this. I don't think I'm going to do a performance of this, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. But I do want you to have a look at the trailer. The trailer's very good, and it's very honest, and it tells you everything that you need to know, or a lot that you need to know. But I'm going to go more in depth. But first of all, if you've not seen it, this is the trailer for One Card by Daniel Garcia.
I can't change my mind, so let's do this. Give me a number up to 10. So give me red or black. Hearts, clubs, spades, or diamonds. Red or black? Red, perfect. So that's going to be a hearts or diamonds, all right? I'm committed. Hearts or diamonds? Which one? Hearts. So we have a red, we have a heart. Imagine an ace through a king, all right? Imagine an ace through a king. Tell me when to stop. Tell me when to stop. It looks about a 7, 8, or 9, is that right? Which one was it? At 8? So the 8 of what? Which one is it? 9. It was 9? So is the 9 of what?
Yeah.
You can change it to a spade if you want. Which one do you want? I told you I'm committed, yeah? Hold out your hand. One card.
In my head, I tossed back and forth between clubs and diamonds. That's crazy.
That is crazy. It was 9? So is the 9 of what?
Was it diamond?
What, did you say diamond or which one?
I think I did it on Brandon.
He doesn't know.
There's no way, bro. There's no way. Oh, okay. But you had that before like this.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh. You had it before, I guess. So how did you?
That's right on, bro. Right on.
Wow.
I'm about to take
Yo,
my
bro.
pants off. There's kids, bro.
Yo, bro.
There's kids, gang.
Oh, yo,
There's
bro.
kids, bro.
Yo.
Bro, I'm a man of my
Dude, I'm gonna freak out. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! What the fuck? Yo, what?
Yo.
Don't put a ball. See that? It's gonna stick. Yeah. High five. High five. Yeah!
So that is the trailer. This is the packaging. This is what you get. And inside you get an instruction card and you get a couple of envelopes. And the envelopes, a couple of envelopes. One of the envelopes has the actual main gimmick in it, and the other envelope is labeled accessories. And inside that, you've got some bits and pieces that you need in order to perform the main routine and a couple of bonus routines. Now, the tutorial itself lasts about an hour, and it's Daniel basically straight to camera explaining everything that you need to know. There is when there needs to be a camera set up behind him. There's a camera for an over-the-shoulder shot. But honestly, the teaching on this product is phenomenal. Daniel Garcia is a great teacher. So we get to the point where, what do I think about it? Well, the first thing that I need to say is I'm not a big fan of arts and craft. I've just never have been. A lot of the time, if I see a project that comes out, and even though I desperately want to do it and I love it, if there's a ton of arts and craft, I'm not going to bother doing it. And that's one of the reasons that I'm not going to be performing this for you right now. There's a couple of reasons. One is the arts and crafts that it's involved, and the other is, this is not the sort of thing that you want to be able to. This is going to take a little bit of time to get looking perfect, and I don't want to half-arse it on camera. But the first 35 minutes, I think it is, the first 35 minutes of the 1 hour tutorial is basically just Daniel explaining how to actually make the gimmicks up. And when I say make the gimmicks up, so he's been very open about this. So what you have here is the world's thinnest card index. Now, I thought it actually held 16 cards. I've heard people talking on Facebook and on various different forums saying that it holds 16 cards. This index actually holds 12 cards. That's how many cards it's designed to hold. And it is a super thin index. If you read the ad copy for one card, it talks about how thin it is and how robust it is. I can confirm it is very robust. It's waterproof. It's probably going to last a lifetime. But the index is designed to hold 12 cards, folded up cards, okay? So you have 12 folded up cards in an index. Now, how you choose to have that index set up is completely up to you. And Daniel goes through a couple of different options, but the way that he says that he prefers to use the index is by limiting their choices to the 7, 8, and 9. And I'm not exposing magic when I say this. I'm not exposing the trick. This is very openly shown on the trailer that he's using this kind of presentational moment to force them into a particular kind of area of cards, the 7, 8, 9, or the 6, 7, 8, or whatever it is, in the center of the deck, and that's a really nice idea, to be honest. By the way, you see a lot of people that do tricks like this where they will force people onto a court card. So it's like, hey, do you want the number cards or the picture cards? Okay, you want the picture cards, right? Okay, so take a picture, and they'll force people onto the picture cards. That's been around for a long time. I think the first person I ever saw do that was Mark Elston, and it was obviously popularized and really made kind of famous by Joshua J and his project Inferno. In fact, Daniel Garcia actually talks about Inferno. He doesn't call it Inferno. He said Joshua J's burning trick, which is Inferno. But he actually references Inferno, and he actually talks about how you can set up the index with core cards if you want to, and there's lots of different options. He even talks about getting a second index or a third index or a fourth index if you want to have kind of multiple indexes that cover multiple different cards or multiple different suits. But the way he sets it up is basically with the 7s, 8s, 9s. And the index is set up so it's double-sided. It is very, very thin. It's set up so that you can access the cards very, very easily. So it's set up so you have all the cards on both sides of the index, right? And a few people have asked questions, where is the index kept? The index is kept in your pocket, and he advocates using it in your front pocket. You can obviously use it in the back pocket. It is a very easy index to use. I've already set the index up. It is a very easy index to use. One thing that you do need to be aware of is that in order to use it the way that Daniel suggests using it, you're going to have to prep the index. So the index will work out of the box, and he gives you a technique for using the index out of the box. So you can literally fold up the cards straight away, put them in the index, and you're good to go. But in order to use it the way that he suggests using it, where the cards are retrieved a little bit easier, you have to do something to the index, leave it overnight, kind of work it in a little bit, which isn't a problem, but it's worth noting. You can't just literally open this up and start performing with it immediately. But there's options in terms of how to actually use the index and how to actually set the index up. So you can set it up with court cards, you can set it up with picture cards, you can set it up with, however you want to, but the way that Daniel suggests doing it is with the 7s, 8s, 9s. And then that will cover any card that they potentially could name. So the index is great. There's no problem with the index. And then you've got the actual trick. So the main trick, as you saw in the trailer, is that Daniel's holding this envelope, this see-through envelope. There's a paperclip on it, and he has somebody name a card, or he gets a few people between them to come up with a card. You know, so somebody will name a color, somebody will name a suit, and then somebody will name a kind of value range, and then somebody will pick one of those cards from the value, and it's always going to be the card, right? So he'll the effect is that he gets a bunch of people to think of a card, generate a card between them, and then he's holding this kind of folded down envelope that's got a paper clip holding it shut. He takes the paper clip off and opens up the envelope, and when he does, they see there's a folded up card in there. When he then takes this envelope and opens it, you can see inside there's only one card. He tips that out into the spectator's hand, and then he opens it up, and it's actually their card that they named, right? That's the effect. Now, there's various different bonus handlings, which we can get to in a minute, but let's just examine that main effect for a minute. There's pros and cons compared to something like Inferno. So we referenced Inferno before. If you know Inferno by Joshua J, everything is self-contained inside the matchbox, right? Everything is self-contained inside the matchbox. You don't need to go into a pocket. You don't have to have a trip into the pocket. But if you know Inferno by Joshua J, you have to open the card yourself, because if they open it, they're going to feel that it's different to a normal playing card, if that makes sense. Whilst with this, one of the big things with Daniel Garcia's one card is that they're apparently seeing one card the entire time, one folded up card in the envelope, and then that's tipped into their hand, and the spectator can open up that card themselves, and they will see that's their card, and it's a normal card. There's been lots of different ways of revealing thought of cards. So many different ways. I remember a trick that came out with Alakazam years ago with a wallet, and inside the wallet there's an envelope, and inside there's an envelope there's one card. You know, that's something that's been around for a long time. That's great. And then you know, you have Streamline 2.0 that's just come out with TCC and David Penn, which is one wallet. Inside the one wallet there's one envelope. Inside the one envelope there's one card, and that one card is their card. Now, the problem with some of those different routines is that when the card is taken out, you can't show it fully. It might be misindexed, it might be double-faced, because they have to represent everything, if that kind of makes sense. Now, that's not the case with this. When that card is tipped out, it's actually going to be their card. They can look at it, they can hold it. It's not double-faced, it's not double-indexed. So that's the advantage, but the disadvantage is you are going to need to take up a pocket with an index. And then you kind of say to yourself, well, if you're going to use an index, why would you not use a full deck index, whether that be Dex or that be, one of the other million index, Cheetah, or, you know, the Rough and Smooth index, or there's a million different indexes, right? If you're going to, and it's somebody like Don Juan, for example, would argue that, you know, why would you want to have your choice is limited to 12 in an index when you can literally have an entire deck in there and you can go in very, very quickly and take one card out immediately? Why limit yourself to 12 cards when you can get indexes that fit in a pocket that will have 52 cards? If you're going to have something in your pocket in order to do a trick, why not have a full deck index? And the reason is it's easier to use an index like what Daniel Garcia has created for one card than it is to use any other type of index. You know, I've used decks for years, and I love it, but it's so much easier to use this than it is to use decks, because you only have 12 cards, and the way the index is set up, you immediately know where to reach to when you go into your pocket, and you can immediately pull out the card. And because the card's folded up, if you're wanting to do a folded up card revelation like we have here, you don't have to fold the card because the card is already folded up to begin with, right? So, but it's the trade-off. That's the important thing to understand. There is a trade-off here. And the trade-off very simply is there are other ways of doing something like this. However, the majority of them will have misindexed cards, or they'll have double-faced cards. And that is why you don't have to have a trip to your pocket. They also typically will have a bigger thing. So if you think of Streamline 2.0, you're holding a wallet. If you think of You know, the same thing with the Alakazam thing. You're holding a wallet. With this, you're holding a little envelope that will fit into your pocket, right? Now, regarding the envelope, like I said, there is a lot of arts and craft. It will take you probably about half an hour to about 40 minutes to set this up. And I do plan on setting it up. It's just, you know, it's something that's going to take a little bit of time. You're going to need to make sure you've got some stuff around the house, which I've had to order off Amazon because I haven't got it. But you are going to need to make sure you've got some stuff around the house. Basically packing tape and double-sided tape. But it was a bit annoying. I'll be honest with you, it was a bit annoying seeing that you had to do arts and craft, because they could have done this. When I'm spending the type of money I am on one card, it would have been nice to have a full, complete gimmick. But you get 6 envelopes, and Danny is going to tell you how to open them up and how to gimmick them up and how to gaff them and how to do this in order to create what you need, which is the gimmick that allows you to show that there's a card in there from the very beginning. The other thing that you do need to have to do is card splitting, and that's the other reason why I haven't set this up yet. I am terrible at card splitting. I just can't do it. The whole thought of splitting a card scares the hell out of me. I've tried it for years. I just can't do it. Now, Ryland is pretty good at it, but he's not been available for the last few days. He's not available until next week. So I've not been able to get him to help me. But you do have to split a card. Now, it's not as bad as splitting a card, because you only have to split part of a card. And Danny talks through how to do it. But still, I tried to do that. I took a card. I tried to split it. I'm just not very good at card splitting. And a lot of people aren't good at card splitting. And I think if you're releasing a product where it involves gimmicking an envelope up, okay, if there has to be some sort of arts and craft, I get it. Okay, it's annoying, but I get it. And some people don't mind it. I do mind it, whatever. However, if you're going to need to have like a thin card or a piece of a card that's thin because it's been split, supply the split card. Actually supply that in the packaging so that people don't have to do it, because there are people out there that really don't like and aren't very good at card splitting. So that was a thing that annoyed me and also put me off. I'll be honest with you, it put me off even putting this together, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to split a card. Okay, and half an hour later, I couldn't split the card. I'm like, right, okay, I'm not going to do this now. So I've played with the gimmick. I've played with the index. I can confirm 100% that the index is incredibly smooth, buttery smooth. Once you've set it up and you've gone through the process that Danny talks about, it's very easy and very quick to retrieve any card from the gimmick that you want to. However, it's you know, you are going to have to set up this envelope. Now, once the envelope has been set up and you've built this whole thing, you get a paperclip with it. It's going to allow you to take this envelope, hold it basically at your fingertips, and they can see some things in there, they're not sure what. And then, you know, through the process that Danny explains, you can take the paperclip off, put it in your pocket. They can see the card there. You're then going to take the envelope and then they're going to tip it into the hand, and that's going to be their card. Now, it's not that difficult to do. Obviously, there's palming, but it's not as bad as palming a full card, because we're talking a folded up card. And you don't need to learn something like a Mercury card fold, because the card's already pre-folded. As part of the setup, you have to set up that index, right? But it's not difficult, because the move that's required in order to do the trick is a very easy move, and you'll learn it very, very easily. Now, once you take the card and you tip the card into their hand, they are going to see that the envelope's empty, but at that point they can't examine the envelope. Now, in all honesty with you, that is absolutely nothing to worry about, because nobody is going to be looking at the envelope at that point. They saw the envelope, they saw one card in the envelope, that's tipped in their hand, now there's nothing in the envelope. The envelope is out of their mind as far as they're concerned at that point. Now, you're going to go into them opening it up and seeing the card. And then that's the end of the trick. So the selection procedure is brilliant. I actually think that's better than the picture number thing. The selection procedure is absolutely amazing. They don't feel like you're forcing them onto one particular card at all. The way the index works is great. The way that the actual card is loaded into the envelope is great. The envelope, once you've made it, looks fantastic. The structure of the routine is, yeah, great. It's all good. It's all very, very practical. And you can tell Daniel Garcia has really thought about this. The only negative I've got to say about that is really about the arts and craft. That's something that really kind of is annoying for me, but I know that other people won't care about it. So, but it's worth talking about. Now, after that, you're going to go through lots of other routines. He's going to go through various different ways of doing this. He talks about how to do it if you don't want to use the envelope. Now, he suggests that he always uses his envelope, but if you don't want to use the envelope, he talks about how you can have a folded up card on the table with a paperclip on it, and then you can take the paperclip off, put it into your pocket, you know, do what you need to do, and then he's going to teach you a shuttle pass. Now, that's great. Obviously, you're left dirty because you're going to be left with something palmed in the hand. But again, nobody's going to be looking at you at that point. They're going to be looking at the card. He then explains how to use Jay Sankey's paperclip switch to be able to do the same thing. Now, he doesn't explain the paperclip switch, but he shows you what it looks like if you do the paperclip switch, and then he tells you what it is. You'll obviously have to get that from Jay if you want to learn that. But this is perfectly usable with the paperclip switch. Now, I was watching it and I was thinking this would be amazing with switch 1. For anybody that went to the trouble of learning switch 1, and you know, it's a great trick, Christian Grace's switch 1, you'll know that the index is a massive wallet that takes up an entire pocket. Now you can do switch 1 with something that takes up no space at all. You could have other stuff in your pocket with that index if you wanted to. Yeah, the negative is you're limiting the amount of cards, but because of Danny's amazing sequence, it doesn't feel like they're being limited at all, which is great. So if you have switch 1, great thing to use with switch 1. It's great to use with any sort of mystery box type thing. Danny even talks about how he uses it with his mint tin routine, you know, the mint tin thing that he bought out a little while ago. Which again is a great idea. He's going to explain to you how to do a magician in trouble type scenario. He's got this really cool routine where they name a card and he's holding a prediction, and it's a blank piece of paper. And when he opens it up, he shows he's predicted 3 of hearts. That's wrong. So he puts the paper, he folds it back up and puts the paper back on. Then he shakes it and it turns into a card. He takes the paper clip off, and that's actually their card that they freely named. Which is really nice. And that requires a little gimmick to be made, which again involves a little bit of card splitting. But Danny's going to teach you how to do that bonus thing as well. But that kind of gives you a more visual nature. So it makes it kind of more visual as opposed to like more cerebral, if that kind of makes sense. And he workshops a bunch of ideas at the end. One of which I really like, which is where the folded up card ends up on the pinned to the back of the spectator. So, you know, they name a card and then he gets them to turn around, and pinned to the back of the spectator is a folded up card. And he takes the pin off their jacket and takes the card out and opens it up, and it's their card, which was really nice. I thought that was a really great idea. There's lots of different ways that you can use this. There's lots of different ways that you can use it. Ultimately, what you have here is you have a very clever index. And once it's set up, and look, the learning curve to a normal index is quite steep. If you're using a 52 card index, it's quite a difficult learning curve, right? It takes you a while to be able to use that. This is not a steep learning curve. This is actually quite an easy thing to do. Because you're only dealing with 12 cards, finding the right place and finding the right card, as soon as you go into your pocket, you're going to know where their card is. As soon as you know where their card is, you can come straight out in palm. And because it's Daniel Garcia, he's routing the whole thing together wonderfully for you, so that you have a reason to put your hand in your pocket. You have a reason to take your hand out of your pocket. You know, it's all routine perfectly. Yeah, I mean, that's it. Questions. Is it well made? Yes, absolutely it's well made. Does it do what it says on the tin? Absolutely 100%. It does what it says on the tin. Will you be able to do it? Yeah, it's not beyond the reach of most magicians. It's relatively easy to do. And although there is palming, and although you're stealing something, and I know that's going to make lots of people nervous, and you're openly loading something into something else, because of the way that the envelope is made that they're looking at, they think the card's already there. So there's no heat on that process at all. What's the reset like? Well, you couldn't do this in front of the spectator. The reset's not that long at all because the envelope is automatically reset. So as soon as you put the envelope away in your wallet or wherever you're keeping it, that is reset. You just need to put the paperclip back on the wallet and, job done. It's as simple as that. If you're not using the envelope, even easier. The index, you would need to take the card that they have picked and put it back in the index. And if you let them keep the card, you'd have to have you'd have to get another card. So I wouldn't let them keep it, but it wouldn't take long to. But you wouldn't be able to do it in front of the audience. But sort of 5 seconds after walking away from the table, you'll be reset, ready to go again. This is powerful. This is really powerful. It's not the first of these types. There's lots of different tricks that have been released over the years where you have one card on display and it ends up being the card that they're thinking of. Mark Lemon brought out something about a year ago with this. There was that really expensive thing with the gimmick where you could show your hand empty and then you'd reach in the air. Danny talks about how you can do a Mark Janest style balloon with it. So he talks about a cabaret situation, by the way, which I forgot to mention, where you're passing a balloon around that's blown up from person to person and they're helping name this card. And then when you take the balloon back, they pop the balloon and inside the balloon is the card they're thinking of, which I thought was a really clever idea. Great for a sort of a cabaret parlor type situation. But there's been other versions of this before, but normally they're flawed in one way or another, or they've got trade-offs. Like I say, Inferno is great, and there's lots of advantages, but they can't hold the card, and they can't examine the card. The things with Instagrab was one that I loved. And that had an index as well that was really clever. This is actually a cleverer index than Instagram. But even with Instagram, the cards couldn't be examined because of how they were made and what they were designed to do. What you have here, in essence, is something that's, close to the Holy Grail in terms of what it is, which is you're holding something at your fingertips. It's not switched in any way, shape or form. That object, which is the envelope, is there the entire time. They can see something in there the entire time. There's apparently a free choice of playing card made. You then open it up and they see that there's a card in there. That card is there. They can see it is. You then tip it into their hand, you put the envelope away, and that's their card. If you want to be able to do that, if you think that's a powerful trick, which it is, then that's what this does. But bearing in mind, it's not completely self-working. It will take time. It's not difficult. The sleight of hand is not hard, but it's something that will require practice. The timing, especially the presentation. The presentation, this sort of thing lives and dies by how clearly you present it. When you're forcing people into a particular range of cards, you need to make it very clear so people don't feel or suspect or detect like they're being limited in any way. So that's where the practice is going to come in. Being able to practice it to make it look smooth and be able to practice the removal from the index. But for people that take the time to do this, I think they're going to get an absolute workhorse of a routine. Now, I am actually going to be putting up performance videos of this when I get Ryland to split a card for me and when I get time to set up the gimmick, which will probably be this weekend. I will go out and I'll get some live performance footage of this because I think this actually needs to have a review show revisited. So that's something that I'm going to do. But as it stands right now, I'm going to mark it on what I think of it. I hate the arts and crafts, but that's just me. I hate making stuff, I just do. It's why I could never be Lloyd Barnes. I'm not going to sit there and make flap cards for hours. But, that's just me. I just don't like arts and craft. It's not going to take you too long. It's a one-time setup. When it's done, but it's something you need to be aware of. Outside of that, this is pretty much damn near perfect. The object that the card is in is smaller than anything I've pretty much ever seen outside of Sankey's Paperclipped. The method is very, very clever. The index is amazing, and it does exactly what it's meant to do. Danny's been very open about this. He's told, you kind of know exactly what you're getting with this. And I think that's, I've read some comments on the Magic Cafe and they go, oh, this isn't Danny's best release. There's nothing exciting here. This is an exciting trick. Think about it from the audience's point of view. Think about it from your spectator's point of view. You're holding one folded up card. They name a card. and that folded up card is tipped into their hand. And I think that's the big key point to one card. The card is tipped into their hand. They see an envelope. This is what's really clever about this. They see an envelope. They see one card in there. They see your hands are empty. And then you take the envelope, you show a card in there, you tip it into their hands, no switch. You then show the envelope again. You put the envelope away, and they can open up the card. It's their card, and there's nothing to find. There's nothing suspicious. That's what makes this so powerful. That's what makes this so strong. It's not just the fact that Daniel Garcia has created a really incredible index. It's really more so the structure of everything and how he's put everything together. And this is why he's one of the leading consultants in the world. I'm going to give this, it's difficult to rate, but I definitely want to try and give this a shot. I'm going to give this 95%. I think this is very, very good. I think this is something that a lot of people will be happy with. I have a feeling that there's going to be people that are going to be buying this and they're going to be selling it. And not because it's not good, but just because I don't think they're going to want to put the effort in to either build the gimmick or they're going to put the effort in to actually make it work. It's not something that will work straight out of the box. You need to put a little bit of work into it. And the problem is, you know, everybody these days wants instant gratification. But I personally think this is amazing. I'm giving it 95%. It does exactly what it's meant to do, as it says on the tin. Is it expensive? Yeah, but I can see why when I see all the stuff that you get with it. So there you go. That's one card by Daniel Garcia. Do me a favor now. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Okay? And you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't seen the Q&A today, please go back and watch it. And if you haven't joined the Netrix, which is my, excuse me, is my online streaming platform for magicians, then please do so. Go to thenetrix.com. You can get access to all of that immediately. Outside of that, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again soon. My name's Craig, and this is Magic TV.